I don't know why I'm still on this. Okay. I still didn't even finish the fucking Meghan McCain video because we jumped from point to point to point to point. Funny because the West looked at Ottomans and Persians as savages for practicing sodomy, and now the West looks down on them for not doing so despite their colonial influence in these regions. Yeah.
Poggies.
Okay. I gotta run an ad right now. I fucking got so hyper stunlocked that I forgot to run the ad at the top of the hour. We're still on part 1. We're gonna get back into this in a second. Okay. My fucking ADHD is just acting out, dude. It's acting a fool today. So if you no longer want to see the ads, you know what it is, and you like the historical tidbits, then subscribe. Okay. The devil works hard, but yo, dude, are you serious, dude? What the fuck? Hasan Doğan Piker, fake Turkish. He's Greek. He's Greek, bro. Greek streamer, bro. Here's the fucking 1-minute ad break now. Fuck. Okay, let's finish.
Attacking people at that restaurant in New York City. As I mentioned on Friday, a Jewish man wearing a kippah was beaten up in Times Square. A pipe bomb was set off in the Jewish Diamond District. In Italy, hundreds of neo-Nazis were marching and giving the Hitler salute. In Toronto, a pro-Palestinian...
You know, the pro-Palestinian Nazis, dude. If there's one thing that I know about Greek Nazis, like Greek neo-Nazis, it's their overwhelming love and admiration for the plight or the Palestinian people and the plight that Muslims go through. You know, the famous Muslim-loving Nazis who are pro-Palestine.
Got my monthly ad break reminding me to
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's funny when, you know, I see all of these, like, these Muslims that just, or these Nazis that just love Muslims, dude. Is this true? Turkish Ahmed, truth number 7. I love Greek penis in my mouth. Hasan Piker. This truth is made by the glorious nation state of Turkey. Hasan Piker is gay and not Turkish. Who made this, dude? This is true. This is known, brother. You are shit of the dog.
Palestinian demonstrator lynched an elderly Jewish man and sexually assaulted Jewish women. In London, pro-Palestinian demonstrators went down the street and screamed "Death to Jews," blanked their sexually assaulted salute. In Toronto, a pro-Palestinian demonstrator lynched an elderly Jewish man and sexually assaulted Jewish women. In London, pro-Palestinian demonstrators went down the street and screamed "Death to Jews," blanked their mothers, raped their daughters. This was all happening last week, and I would love if the energy that is being put...
The Toronto dude was literally fucking a part of a group that's considered a terror organization by the FBI. I'm just gonna point that out. But yeah, no, these are horrible fucking things that happen to Jewish people. Okay, the Toronto one is I don't know why people just do that to like pad the deck. I guess you know just add some stats to it. It's already fucking horrible to begin with. But she's reading a chain email from my it's like she's reading a chain email from my grandmother. But I am still, if only there were people who's been saying for years that Nazism, anti-Semitism, and fascism is on the rise. Yeah, I was about to say, like, I find it rather strange when like defenders of the Zionist occupation routinely bring up anti-Semitic attacks, especially when talking about people who are very clearly against anti-Semitism, like myself or Ilhan Omar or AOC. Like, these are people who have absolutely done work in combating the alt-right, who get routinely fucking owned and get death threats that are targeted by the alt-right, who are anti-Semitic as fuck. Italian Nazis no longer care about anti-Semitism and is probably done to commemorate the death of a famous fascist. Like, these are all horrible acts. Okay, anti-Semitism is completely unacceptable. Using anti-Semitic attacks as a way to move away from like legitimate criticisms of Israel is completely psychotic. Sorry. She got you with that whataboutism. Like, it's just so stupid. It's bullshit. Some of those were false incidents. It doesn't matter. But like, it doesn't matter because there are very real incidents that are occurring. Like, there are very real incidents. There are anti-Semitic attacks that are happening, right? But like what's the argument there? You know what I mean? I can't believe you say that Palestinians should not suffer under a brutal, horrible occupation that has displaced millions of them. I can't believe you would say that. Now, fucking Jewish people are getting beaten up. Like, okay, that's anti-Semitism that's happening in the West, but why are you rushing to marry the two ideas? They're making the stochastic incitement argument. Yes, I understand that. But the problem with making the stochastic incitement argument with respect to the Palestinian cause is that you are the one who is trying to tie the ultimately anti-Semitic idea that all Jews are loyal to Israel across the fucking board. That's anti-Semitism. You are trying to fucking ram this all lives matter take into a conversation where Palestinians are talking about liberation. And now she's also not even talking about Palestinians here. She's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, like in a conversation about Marjorie Taylor Greene's anti-Semitic statement about how it's literally the Holocaust to wear a fucking mask. She turned around and was like, oh, what about all of these people that are beating the shit out of Jewish people while like celebrating Palestine? Like that means that the Free Palestine movement is just like anti-Semitic inherently. And it's fucking bullshit.
Put on one crazy woman in Congress. And by the way, if she is the face of the Republicans, then the squad is the face of the Democrats. I would love Democrats to put that same type of energy onto what's happening on the left, because quite frankly, this is how people get red-pilled. They're red-pilled when they see the blatant bias in the media. It's because the media doesn't want the squad to look bad. They just want Marjorie Taylor to look bad. Anti-Semitism is a huge problem everywhere in this country. When you talk about Holocaust survivors,
yes, it is.
My producer who produces me
and it's like annoying because like, first of all, she's on a panel with like most people, every single person on that panel is a Zionist. Okay. I mean, they are not only just like, they're not only Zionists, but like they're advocates for, for the most part, the actions of the Israeli state. Right. So I find it odd that like she's describing to them like all of this like anti-Semitism is a huge problem. Like, yeah, I know. We know that. Like, what the fuck?
We're going to break, and when we come back, you can continue talking, but now we're going to break, so we'll be right back. I'm cutting you off because we have to go, Megan.
Oh, they kept it in there. I love that. Here's part 2.
We're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene continuing to stand by her
that's great, dude.
The comments she made recently. Megan, you want to finish what you were saying?
Yes, all I was trying to finish saying is that when anti-Semitism shows itself on the right, it is easy to spot with crazy people and tiki torches. And when it manifests on the left, it is a lot more insidious and a lot more sinister and a lot more...
I hate this shit, dude. It's just like, I hate it. It's so fucking annoying. Like, what about the anti-Semitism on the left? Like you literally just talked about Nazis beating the shit out of a Jewish person in Germany. Like, what part of that has to do with the fucking left, dog? You fucking psycho, you sick freak. God damn, dude. Like in a segment while she's defending someone who is a psychopathic anti-Semitic titan in Congress. I despise the what about the anti-Semitism on the left arguments. It's like the quickest and easiest way to just like pull well-intentioned, mostly anarchist leftists away from the important subject. Like, what about the anti-Semitism on the left? Like, if you're anti-Semitic, you're not a leftist. It's as simple as that. If you're fucking bigoted, and anti-Semitism is bigotry, a insidious and horrible type of bigotry, most commonly associated with fucking fascists, you're not a leftist. It's as simple as that. It just makes me so mad when people are just like, what about the leftist anti-Semitism? Especially because like there are actual fucking anti-Semites and actual anti-Semitic attacks. Why are you trying to like use that as a way to fucking attack the left? It just seems like you don't give a shit about anti-Semitism.
More difficult to define.
Okay, let me point out that when Ilhan Omar made her equally ridiculous comments, the entire, Nancy Pelosi snatched her.
It's just like, it's always Mott and Bailey, right? It's always like, which comment are you specifically talking about? Oh, all of them. Okay. So like what? It's all about the Benjamins, or saying that the Israeli lobby has a profound amount of influence, like the American Israel lobby group that literally operates to create like pro-Israeli legislation, and they have done it successfully. Like, that's the same as Jewish space lasers. Like, are you fucking psychotic? Are you? It's so dumb. That's not equal at all, dude. That is so insane. That's shitty, no true leftist argument. I agree with the sentiment behind your take, but if you're bigoted, you aren't a leftist, is an argument that's going to work on these people. I don't give a fuck about working on these people. I'm telling motherfuckers in here. When you ask, what does anti-Semitism look like on the left? These people will say things that range from literal fucking Nazis, who obviously aren't leftists, to Corbyn and his advocacy for Palestinian liberation. That is the broadest fucking spectrum of political points of view that you could ever capture. You're basically saying anyone who's an anti-Semite is a leftist, and also any kind of sentiment against Israel is inherently anti-Semitic. It's fucking dishonest as shit, and it's really stupid.
Her up and said, let me sit down and let's talk about this because you're incorrect.
She still has power.
I am hoping that, let me
She's
just
on the Foreign
finish. Well, she
Affairs
still
Committee,
has.
and Marjorie Taylor Greene has been stripped of committee. She has no power in Congress anymore. It matters who can make legislation, and if you're for BDS and you're anti-Israel in the way that she is, it has the real power to make legislative change, as we have seen last week with the squad.
Okay.
So the idea that Marjorie Taylor Greene is more influential than AOC is just inaccurate, and it's just not true.
I don't know what you're talking. Now I don't know what you're talking about. I understand you're upset, and I get that. But because we only have 4 minutes to talk about this, I will say again that Ilhan Omar was taken underhand, and they shook her and woke her up and said, "You can't do this." So.
That's not even true. Like, she literally fucking apologized for the way that she spoke. Like, the problem with Israel has hypnotized the world is that it does engage in, like, straight up, it does fucking allude to anti-Semitic tropes. Like, Jews are hypnotizing people. Okay, like, Jews are hypnotizing people is like Nazi shit. All right, but Israel does not mean all Jews. One, and she should not have used like hypnotism. And also, this was in 2012, a statement that she apologized for. Using that to say, well, actually, her current position on Palestinian liberation is also anti-Semitic is disgusting.
So I don't know whether it is one side or the other, but whether this woman has...
Oh, so now it's okay to say stuff in the past? You're a fucking idiot if you don't recognize what my position has always and consistently been about past statements and past actions even of people. I believe in redemption. I believe in people bettering themselves. Okay? That's so fucking idiotic. Like, I also believe in, like, the severity of the infractions. You have to recognize this.
As power or not, she shouldn't be in that seat. Sonny, what were you going to say?
Well, you know, I think that when you
like, when I talk about fucking Ben Shabibo's, like, writings about advocating for the final solution for Palestinians,
for
okay? Putting them in trains and, like, sending them to who knows where, but it doesn't really matter. Like, that's only relevant because Ben still maintains that same position, okay? His point of view has not changed. Like, he still, in recent years, tweeted out about how, like, you know, Arabs, all they know is living in sewage and bombing shit. Israelis love to build, like, that sort of shit. Like, and to this day, he still has similar positions and advocates for the brutalization and slaughter of Palestinians. So then it is relevant, yes. But if your point of view is if you've apologized for a past statement that is not the same, not in the same vein as, like, fucking literally being like all Palestinians need to be cleansed ethnically from the fucking region for Israel's survival. Like, the best thing that I can say here, the best comparison I can make here is the 9/11 comments, right? People still, to this day, try to be like, oh, you just wanted all Americans to die on 9/11. You love Al-Qaeda. Like, no, I don't. You're a fucking idiot. You're absolute fucking dingus, okay? It's so dumb.
Well, you know, I think that when you talk about Israel and Palestine, you really need to be an expert in it. And I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't had a more robust...
I hate that, dude. That's a deflection, dude. Sunny is supposed to be the most woke one on the fucking ladies on The View, and, like, even her take is just like, you need to be an expert. Like, no, you don't. Here, you tell me if you think this, you need to be an expert for this. Here is an Israeli police person arresting a 10-year-old Palestinian boy in Jerusalem as their sisters are crying for his release. You tell me you need to be an expert to say, like, this shit's bad and wrong. Let's hear it. Let's see it. You need to be an expert for this, dude. You need to be an expert to be like, yeah, ethnic cleansing and mass displacement of a marginalized group of peoples from an area by a much more dominant military power is actually bad. You need to be a fucking expert for that, dude. Really? It fucking blows my mind. It's literally no different than saying, like, you need to be an expert to talk about Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Would Sunny Hostin say that, you think? Would she have that same energy for BLM, dude? Probably not, right? That's what fucking conservatives say. Oh, I'm sorry. You need to be an expert. It's complicated. All right, it's not even conservatives that say that, actually. Conservatives just straight up say racist shit.
Discussion on this show about the conflict.
It's just like apartheid is not that complicated to describe, okay? It's not like all that complicated to say, like, I have a moral position on this.
Going on over in the Middle East, because none of us are Middle East policy experts, and perhaps
you don't need to be a fucking Middle East policy expert to be like, apartheid is wrong.
Something that we should do. Perhaps we should have experts come on and, you know, educate us and our viewers on it. But I will say this, you know, I think it's very dangerous to use examples of allegedly pro-Palestinian supporters attacking Jews. I think it's criticizing the Israeli government and some of its tactics is not the same as being anti-Semitic. Just as criticizing Donald Trump is not the same as being anti-American. I think that you can't conflate Israeli politics with Judaism and Jewish hate crimes. And in fact, doing so, I believe, is anti-Semitic.
But I wasn't. But what I listed off were hate crimes.
The other thing that I think, let me finish. I think the other thing is that if we are going to compare, and I don't think that it's I don't think it's fair to compare the left and the right when it comes to this. I also, you know, I don't like whataboutism. But if we are going to compare AOC and, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which people seem to be wanting to do lately, not only on this show, but just all across the country, in terms of Marjorie Taylor Greene's reach, I mean, she raised $3 million after she was stripped of her committees, yet AOC raised a little over $700,000. That makes Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my view, more of a threat because she has massive support in the Republican Party, notwithstanding the fact that she has targeted marginalized communities.
If you go up to a table of Jewish people and say, who's Jewish, and attack them, it's a hate crime. I don't think that's conflating. I'm not saying if you're pro-Palestine, it means you're anti-Semitic. I'm saying what.
That is not what happened, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh, in this situation that I made up, that's really anti-Semitic. What does that have to do with AOC? And that's not even what happened in Los Angeles, dude. What the fuck is she talking about, dude? Oh, where are the Jews here? We're gonna beat them up? No, like, that's not... You just made that scenario up, you fucking idiot. How is this a response to whatever the fuck she's saying? Yeah, you need to be an expert to say free Palestine, but you sure don't need to be an expert to say free Israel, apparently. And Israel's existence relies on fucking the mass incarceration and ethnic displacement of Palestinians. Like, saying that, you don't need to be an expert on that. I wonder why. I wonder why you don't need to be an expert to be like, we stand unconditionally with Israel. Like, they have a right to defend themselves, and that's why they need to keep fucking bombing Gaza. Sorry, you need to be a fucking expert to criticize Jim Crow laws in the South. Sorry, you need to be an expert to say that, like, what happened in Nazi Germany with concentration camps was wrong. Sorry, you need to be an expert to realize that, like, apartheid South Africa had a horrifying regime. I'm sorry. It's just like, this is the expertise. This is the expertise that you need to bring to the fucking table. I need to see this.
That I think, let me finish. Israeli
I'm sorry.
Politics with Judaism, and it's not the same as being anti-American.
This is a good take.
I think that you can't conflate Israeli politics with Judaism and Jewish hate crimes. And in fact, doing so, I believe, is anti-Semitic.
That's a great fucking take, though. Sorry.
Wasn't, but what I listed off were hate crimes.
The other thing that I think, let me finish. I think the other thing is that if we are going to compare, and I don't think that it's I don't think it's fair to compare the left and the right when it comes to this. I also, you know, I don't like whataboutism. But if we are going to compare AOC and, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which people seem to be wanting to do lately, not only on this show, but just all across the country, in terms of Marjorie Taylor Greene's reach, I mean, she raised $3 million after she was stripped of her committees, yet AOC raised a little over $700,000. That makes Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my view, more of
I think this is a dumb fucking take.
threat
Anyway,
because she has massive support in the Republican Party, notwithstanding the fact that
just like AOC is not even like AOC has more prominence within Democratic Party politics than Marjorie Taylor Greene does in the Republican Party. Marjorie Taylor Greene is more loved by the more reactionary elements of their base, though. Ultimately, it's not even a comparison that should be made, considering the fact that AOC has done nothing wrong, like literally nothing wrong. If anything, most criticisms about AOC from the left revolve around her being like kind of blind to Palestinian struggles and oppression.
she has targeted marginalized communities.
If you go up to a table of
Okay,
Jewish people and
so-
say, who's Jewish, and attack them, it's a hate crime. I don't think that's conflated.
Dude, you are literally conflating that, but you're also making stuff up. That is not what happened. But even if that idea that you just made up and lied about actually did occur, how the fuck does that have anything to do with fucking Israel? How the fuck does that have anything to do with fucking Palestinian rights, dude, and Palestinian liberation?
I'm not saying
Like, it's so dumb. A black person committed a crime somewhere, which means all black people should be fucking punished across the board, and Black Lives Matter is bad. That is the point that fucking Meghan McCain is making right here, okay? Well, sorry, this black person did a crime. Therefore, sorry, let's render the entirety of Black Lives Matter a violent militia movement. That is literally what she's saying, okay?
saying if you're pro-Palestine, it means you're anti-Semitic. I'm saying what I listed off, which I was very careful to use the examples because I knew that would be the rebuttal. If you go up to a person at a restaurant or throwing off pipe bombs and hitting someone with a yarmulke, and by the way, the man who did that to the Jewish man was let out of jail and then celebrated and said, quote, I'd do it again. That's a hate crime. And I just wish we could bring that same energy towards hate crimes directed towards Jewish people.
At this point, like, I don't know what she's saying. She's just like literally fucking like, how is this any different than like QAnon conspiracies, dude? This is just like, I guess she's just completely making stuff up now. Like, I don't know how to. It's just vomiting out like lies. Like, what the fuck?
As we do with every other minority, which we should.
We bring dislike for all hate crimes.
I resent that.
We just do. And
I
when
resent that remark.
when you say which
Well,
one?
I resent a lot of things, so we're even.
That we don't bring energy. I mean, I've been talking about anti-Semitism on this show for 25 freaking years. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to be saying, Megan, okay? You do your thing, we do ours.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, kind of weird that she's just like making it seem like even fucking defending completely unrelated people in like Meghan McCain's like whataboutist POV is kind of like justifying anti-Semitic actions that happen separately from what Israel is doing. Like, that's weird, especially when you're like kind of fucking saying that to your coworkers who have probably been defending Israel for longer than you have. So
Supposed to say, I know, I'm well aware we do separate things on the show, Joy, okay? And I know you've been here 25 years, I've been here 4.
That's right. That's right. Should have some respect for that.
oh shit, she hit her with a know your fucking place, dude.
Once in a blue moon.
Nobody wants anybody arguing. Nobody wants. We would like everybody to stop comparing stuff or conflating stuff or saying stupid stuff, whether you're on the left, the right, or in the center. If we could just get back to Muslims are being attacked, Jews are being attacked, gay people are being attacked, trans people are being attacked. We like to focus people's ideas on how to make a better world. And you have to do that by saying, this is wrong. And every time we see something that's wrong, you say, this is wrong. That was wrong.